once again to the video. In this one, I thought I would take a look at this special 6-inch Black Series figurine of see, I have him in a kneeling position of course, a rebel trooper from Star Wars, of course, A New Hope principally. The classic opening scene. Let's just stretch him out a little bit. The classic opening scene where the Tantive 4 is attacked by the Empire. That is possibly my favourite, well, one of my favourite scenes in the whole of Star Wars. I suppose because it's the first scene. And this guy was one of the poor rebel troopers. Who was so violently gunned down by the stormtroopers. Let's just get this into focus. Yeah, hopefully he's still in focus. Now, in that first scene in Star Wars, the stormtroopers are actually portrayed as being super efficient. And that's why, for me anyway, they remained, when I was a child, they remained scary throughout the 3 original trilogy films, even though they seem to be terrible at accuracy with their shooting for the rest of Star Wars and the whole of Empire and the whole of Jedi, because they were so super efficient and clinical in that first opening scene on the Tantive 4 blockade runner, because they were hyper efficient in that one scene. It makes you think that they are scary, efficient fighters, just because I guess first impressions last. So I wonder if that was deliberate by George Lucas to make sure that the first scene in Star Wars shows the stormtroopers as being really good, because first impressions last. And however bad they are after that, you'll always remember how good they were against these poor fellas. Silly helmet, I don't know what's going on there, but it's just iconic, these rebel troopers. It's not the best rebel uniform. I preferred both the Hoth rebel uniform with their white scarves, and also the green and brown Forest Moon of Endor costumes for Return of the Jedi. I preferred both of those to this one, but this is the one I would always prefer to have as a figurine, because it's from that original scene that I loved so much. When the stormtroopers are cutting through the door and this guy look at the look on his face. So he has a look of concern, but also quiet confidence. But that soon went away as soon as the stormtroopers started firing. Actually, I have to say, in the film, they didn't look very confident, even before the stormtroopers started firing. Now, a little bit of trivia for you. The reason why stormtroopers have helmets, and the reason why Darth Vader had a helmet, goes back to the fact that originally when the Imperial Star Destroyer attacks the Tantive 4 at the beginning of Star Wars, originally they were not going to have the Tantive 4 inside the Imperial Star Destroyer. Instead, Darth Vader and the stormtroopers were going to use little jetpacks and fly through space between the two ships, and because of that they needed helmets, and that's why the original design of stormtroopers and Darth Vader had helmets. And that, of course, eventually led to them having to explain why Darth Vader had a helmet, because he was damaged in his duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, but all of it stemmed from the fact that he needed a space helmet on to get between the two ships originally. But yeah, these guys were pretty useless, has to be said. I seem to remember there being 2, maybe 3 dead stormtroopers after the attack on the Tantive 4, but there were loads of dead rebel troopers. These guys also turned up, of course, at the end of Rogue One, and again they got soundly thrashed, this time just by Darth Vader on his own. But that was a great scene again at the end of Rogue One, which is of course a fantastic film. I think it's the best Star Wars film that Disney have done so far, by quite a margin, I would say. And it was certainly great. The end of that film was fantastic, with Darth Vader slicing through the rebel troopers. But if you look at his clothes, if it wasn't for the helmet and the gun, he could easily go to a local supermarket dressed like this. So it's not a particularly exciting outfit. But still, I'm glad I've got it. This was actually one of my Christmas presents. It was very much so known that I wanted it, and it wasn't easy getting hold of it, actually. And I've got a couple of stormtroopers as well for him to fight. Maybe I should build up a few of them, have a diorama, have 4 or 5 of these, and 4 or 5 stormtroopers. And I can set up a little diorama of them fighting. Okay, so that's probably all I'm going to do for this video. Now, as a kid, I used to collect the 3 3/4 inch figures, but I don't collect these Black Series ones. I just have this guy and 2 stormtroopers. I've done a video on one of those stormtroopers before, but I only have those 3 figures. My son has a few others, as he pretends to like Star Wars. He does like Star Wars, but just not as much as me. Anyway, I will get a few more, but I'm not going to collect listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so, or comment on the video, or like the video, or leave a tip underneath the video in the thanks button. But once again, thank you just for watching and listening. I will see you on the very next